These are the 30 types of players in Siege. First up, we have the 0-6 Ashe main. This guy wants to be Bolo so bad, he runs in with Ashe or Yana or plays Warden on defense and tries to get kills, but ends up having the most negative KD you've ever seen in your entire life. They're probably hard stuck plat with a huge ego and end up bottom fragging every single game. On the flip side of that same coin, we have the 6-0 Ashe main. These guys actually walk the walk that they talk. They get a lot of kills, don't die a lot, and are actually good fraggers for the team. They're probably high rank, or they're smurfing in a rank they don't belong in, so they'll be soon to reach the high rank that they so desire. They have at least a 1.2 KD overall, and if you want to play Ashe or Warden that game, good luck. My third player is the Troll with Troll Guns. This is a person who plays Boss G, a person who plays pretty much any shotgun where they have an AR as another option, and just any gun that you would never think to play, like shotgun on Mira, for example, they end up playing it. They're like, trust me, bro, trust me, you gotta try out Mira shotgun. These players are the most delusional players I think I've probably ever seen or played with, and there's a reason that they are hard stuck Emerald. It's the weirdest phenomenon I've ever seen. Number 4 is the Scaredy Cat. This guy will sit on drones for the first minute and a half of the round, droning in their entries and droning in their supports. Now you might be thinking, well, why is this a bad thing? Because he does it every single round and it's all he does, and the only time he gets off of his drone is in the last minute of the round when all of his teammates are dead and he's left in a 1v4 situation. Why do you think as a player you're left in 1vx's every single round? It's not because your team is bad, it's because you're too much of a pussy to go in the building and take a gunfight. Stop using your drones as an excuse and just go in with your team. There's a time and a place for droning, and it's not all the time. Number 5 is the complete opposite, which is the shield player. This person, whether it be Monty or Blitz on attack or Clash on defense, loves to play shields. They swear by shields, and they commonly say things like, shields are actually super good, people just never know how to play them correctly. And then they're probably going like 2-7 every game. They constantly swear by trying to get the bomb down, using smoke grenades and using utility, which actually isn't a bad thing, but they're never able to actually execute on the site because they don't have teammates to play off of their shields, and they probably just don't know how to play shields correctly. Or they really know how to play shields and they're really good, and it's kind of a freak of nature thing where it's like, wow, maybe they should actually nerf Blitz. Now that was just 5 out of 30 different types of Siege players, so you gotta stick to the end because some of these are really funny. Number 6 is the wannabe IGL. This is a person that tries to be Canadian in every single one of their games. They go in with Lion, Ying, Dokkaebi, and they're trying to tell their team where to go, what walls to open, what shields to destroy, what players to focus, and whatever it may be, and they're just never saying the right things. They're calling for a backside push when 4 of their teammates are pushing the front side, and then they wonder why their teammates aren't helping them when in reality they're the player that isn't doing the right thing. In a solo queue environment with a 1.5 times scope meta, a wannabe IGL is one of the worst virtue signaling people you can have in Rainbow Six Siege because they actually end up hurting the team more than they end up helping. On the complete opposite side is the toxic player, the one that wants nothing to do with their teammates whatsoever. He runs in with Ashe, Yana, Nock, and any time that he dies first in the round, he finds some way to blame you or his team, or he accuses the enemy team of hacking even though he died to a random wallbang. If you die at all, be sure to mute this teammate immediately after dying and in chat as well, because they will go to chat once they realize you've muted them in voice comms. This player is really sad in real life, and there is a reason that he is hard stuck Emerald. Now the opposite of the toxic teammate is the positive teammate, the one that's always keeping your spirits high. Now this teammate usually isn't the best at the game, but having him around is never going to hurt you, especially compared to my last Siege player that I talked about, or any randoms that don't give comms in general. The positive teammate usually runs support operators and doesn't let things tilt him, and is usually good for bringing utility, the diffuser, or hard breachers along the way. But be careful around these players because if you can get them tilted, you can get them tilted. Number 9 is the spawn peeker. This person every single round, without flaw, gets a spawn peek kill. Every single round. I don't know how they do it. They even sometimes will spawn peek the exact same angle 3 defensive rounds in a row, and they will still get a kill. These are the people like Pigeon R6, Shock, Bolo, Shaiko, you name a good aimer, every single time they go for a spawn peek, they just never lose. Their favorite map is probably Cafe, their favorite operator is probably Warden or Osa, and they're probably really skinny in real life. Now, I don't know why that's a stereotype, but it just happens to have a 100% success rate because Every single person that's like that is just a god at spawn peeking. Now in my 10th spot, the opposite, instead of the spawn peeker, is the spawn dyer. This is the people that want to have good aim and want to get spawn peek kills because they watch a lot of shock videos, but end up never actually getting those spawn peek kills. I personally am the spawn dyer. I will run boss G and spawn peek every round in a row, every game in a row, until I get that spawn peek kill for one simple TikTok clip. These types of players probably have a YouTube channel with around 13k subscribers that you should totally go subscribe to, and they're probably really handsome in real life. Now that was 10 out of 30 different types of Siege players, and the last one is super relatable, so you gotta stick to the end. Number 11 is the one that always has weird strats. Whether it be a weird castle strat, some weird Azami angles, a random Monty push completely out of nowhere, different lineups for different maps, and they never end up actually working out. They'll tell you in the beginning of the round, like, dude, okay, we gotta try out this Maverick Blackbeard strat on Canal, and then everyone ends up dying, and then he wonders why it didn't work. It's just a person that sees random TikTok clips and immediately wants to implement it in their gameplay because they were too busy on TikTok in the drone phase, rather than being a normal human being and actually droning people and getting information. On the opposite side of this is the normal castle stratter. This person actually knows how to play castle correctly, and in order for this to actually be a real person, they're probably at least diamond elo or above, because castle as an operator is a little bit hard to understand to play correctly. This person can solo castle strat completely off the site and win a lot of rounds. He has high game sense with maybe not the best aim, but he's overall a great team player that knows how to utilize utility to its best to outsmart enemies when they don't have the best gun skill to do so instead. Now, those players are pretty rare, but number 13 is one of the most common Siege stereotypes, and it's the F it, let's just rush the site people. These people, once they lose 2 rounds on attack, if they're attacking first, the 3rd round, they will immediately just give up all hope and Hail Mary a play. They can do the same thing on defense too. If you're stratting on defense, you're playing a zombie, smoke, whatever it may be, using utility, and they just keep beating you, this person will switch to Warden and just start running at people. It's like a switch in their brain that gets flipped off automatically if they lose at least 2 rounds. It's like some coding in their brain that just can't allow them to actually play the game correctly if they start losing, because they either have a huge ego or they're just so bored of the own game that they choose to play that they end up just rushing and swinging everything that they see that ends up moving. Now, if someone is like that, then they're also probably an elo stuck dreamer, which is my 14th Siege player. This person usually is in either plat or emerald, and they swear by their mother's grave that they belong in champion, they just have bad teammates or they're an elo hell. But as soon as you actually pair them up against MMR-wise actual champions, they lose every single time. So it's not that they're elo stuck, they legitimately are just bad, but they think that they're so good that they end up not actually improving and breaking down their gameplay because they think there's nothing wrong with them, which is in turn why they're actually stuck in the rank that they're stuck in. I know a lot of people can relate to this because probably everybody in plat is like this, so I had to throw this in the video. Now, at a certain point, these players get tired of being in their rank and go to extreme measures to get out of it, which brings me into my 15th R6 player, the cheater. These people are either Zims on console or they just install $15 cheats for PC. In order to actually be a cheater, you need to have an ego, because rank is all that matters to you, otherwise you wouldn't be cheating and breaking any moral law that you had to get to the rank that you want to be in. Not only this, but if you were a good player, you wouldn't have to cheat. But they know they're not a good player, so they end up cheating anyways. If you're elo stuck for too long and you don't actually try to improve and you blame everybody else, then of course this is going to lead down the path of cheating. Not only can people cheat on your team to win, but there are certain teammates that you have that can completely cheat you out of a win. These types of players are the people who swear by completely terrible operators. It's that one guy that goes, I swear Glaz is good, I swear Glaz is good, holds an angle and then dies to a warden that completely shits on them every single game. It's the person who plays Fuse and goes, but Fuse has an AK and he's really good for utility clear, and then we never end up getting a wall open because he could have just played Ace instead. It's the person that just keeps trying to play Clash and they never get any value out of Clash ever. And they'll sit in the voice comms and try to actually break it down and use like win deltas and actual data to back up the fact that Caviera is like actually a really good operator, which is actually a video I've made. You should go check that out at the end of this video. And then they never end up actually getting any kills. There are certain exceptions to this rule, but usually these players love the Russian operators, whether it be Glaz, Fuse, Tachanka, or Kapkan, and it's all they play. Now, a lot of players will just sit and play those terrible operators over and over and over again. But this next type of Siege player is the person who just plays the game every once in a while, whether it be once every few weeks, once every few months, or maybe once every few days, and is just great at it. And you look at them and you're like, you're really the Gojo of Siege. Like, it's actually angering because you'll sit and you'll put hours into aim practice, you'll play ranked, you'll play deathmatch, you have a warm-up routine, you're watching Siege content creators to get better, and then this person doesn't do any of that. It isn't even like a part of their life playing Siege. They log on once every week, and they're just 10 times better than you. It's the most angering thing in the world. They're just naturally talented, and they're just naturally a genius at this game. And if they're like that, they're probably really, really, really good at other games too, and this isn't the first time that you've had to encounter this angering player. But you can't really complain either, because he's carrying you to your next rank, so you're just stuck like, damn, I'm really getting showed up right now. Like, it just kind of sucks. But on the flip side of this coin is the person that plays the game all of the time religiously and is still somehow terrible at the game. I have a friend who is silver at this game. He maxed gold, never has gotten past gold 3. He has more hours on the game than I do. Keep in mind, I have like 4K hours if you're combining console and PC on this game, right? He still is hard stuck silver while I've gone from gold to champ in a matter of 2 seasons. Like, it's insane how much people can spend time putting into a game and just not improve. Now, these people typically are also the people that are hard stuck plat blaming everybody but their teammates, because in order for you to be this dumb to not be able to reach your next rank, you're not actually trying to improve yourself, and you don't realize what your mistakes are, so you can't actually improve your mistakes, which is why no matter how many hours you put into this game, you will just never reach that level. Or there's the person with just a generally low IQ. If you don't know, a lot of gaming and how good you are at gaming is genetics, whether it be your IQ, your reaction time, and many other brain factors. This person could literally just be dumb. They could actually just be dumb, and no matter how many hours they put into the game, they will always just kind of be a little slow. Another Siege archetype of people that are just really slow are the people that say, I can't get kills because I'm a support, as an excuse for why they're going 0-6. Now, this is my 19th type of Siege player. These players religiously will only play Thermite, Maverick, Hibana, Ace, or Thatcher. These are the only 5 attackers that they will play. All because of the fact that they can't frag, so they're scared to play any other operator. Not only this, but if they try to frag, they know they won't get kills and they know they'll get roasted. So they just stick support to play it safe. But even when they are on support, they still don't get kills because they're just that bad. So when their team roasts them, they just end up saying, well, that support's not my job. I'm not meant to get kills. I'm meant to use utility. So that's why I'm 0-6. That's why I'm being useless to my team and you're on a 4v5. And even though I'm trying to open walls, I can't because I'm an idiot. Right? That's that type of player. Not only that, but they use the excuse of, well, I'm a support, so my job isn't to get kills, when supports have the best weapons in the entire game. Ace has an AK. Thermite has a great AR with a 1.5 times scope on it and flash grenades if you still want to get kills. Hibana's gun is outstanding minus the ammo count. Maverick's gun is crazy. Thatcher's gun, the L8, is one of the easiest guns to use in the entirety of Siege. So if you're this type of player, stop making excuses and just hit the aim labs for the love of God. Someone who probably does hit the aim labs a little bit more though is the Amaru Rusher, who is in number 20. Now, there are 2 ways you can get into Amaru Rusher. 1, somebody who does not care about their elo, they're just playing the game for fun and they're trying to go for a TikTok clip. 2, our number 13 player, the fuck it let's rush player. If someone is on an F it let's rush, usually they're playing Ashe and Yana or Finka and they're just trying to run to the building and get some kills. But if they're really, really mad, or they're really tilted, or they just do not care about their elo, then they have the opportunity to transform into an Amaru Rusher. So like I said, there's only 2 ways you can get to this stage: degeneracy and laziness. Now if you run the shotgun, that's a completely different story, because now you're trying to actually strat. People who use Amaru shotgun are probably like actually pretty smart at the game, but they just want to have a little bit more fun other than 1.5 times scope. The one thing I will say about the Amaru Rusher in general, no matter which path you take, is that these players will use no utility at all, which is the complete opposite of our next Siege player, which is the utility warlord. This person will reinforce 8 things, will always bring barbed wire, will always bring a zombie and use nothing but utility, but they don't have the guns to properly capitalize off of the utility that they play. They're the people that are running Fenrir, they're the people that are running a zombie with no kills, and they're the people that are running Thermite when there isn't Thatcher to help them get the wall open anyways. They swear by utility and they say, Siege is a utility game, it's not a gun game, and then they never end up actually utilizing their utility to win the round. It doesn't make sense. It's completely backwards. You have to find a healthy balance as a player, quick little side note here, from the Amaro Rusher and the utility Warlord. There's a healthy balance in between both of using utility and getting kills, and the utility Warlord is just on the complete opposite side of the spectrum of the Amaro Rusher. They just use too much utility, they're way too focused on strats, and when they get an opportunity to get a kill, they'd rather use utility instead. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Number 22 is the Solus main. Now, this person in particular is different than every other operator main in existence, because these players, for whatever reason, think that Solus is the best operator that's been created in the past 5 years. Now, Solus is amazing, don't get me wrong. I think she's one of the best roamers in the entire game right now. But do I think she is the most powerful defender or needs some type of nerf to make her balanced? Absolutely not. These type of players will use Solus and get all 5 drones in the prep phase flawlessly just to prove to Ubisoft, who isn't even watching their gameplay, how broken Solus is, just so that Solus can get a nerf. They're out for spite and for blood for every single ranked lobby that they're in, and it's just so annoying going against them, because it's not even that they're providing that much value, they just have to make you wait and sit on outside cams for the first 30 seconds of the prep phase, and then you end up shitting on them in-game anyways. They're just weirdos that are on Twitter complaining to Ubisoft when they know Solus is never going to get changed, because she really is not as good as people think she is. Speaking of being on Twitter though, my 23rd Siege player is the content consumer. This person is on YouTube every single day, on Twitch every single day, because they think that watching people play the game is going to make them better. Now, there is a difference between actually watching informational content like me and then watching somebody like Spoit on Twitch. Now, I'm not saying Spoit is a bad content creator, I'm just saying if you're looking to get better at the game and study the game, just watching somebody stream who has really good aim is not going to do that for you. People will just watch a Bolo stream for an hour before they play in ranked, and now they just start swinging everything because they have that content consumer confidence. It's the weirdest phenomena, I swear. People do it all the time, and these people end up actually being the hard stuck plats, because they're like, well, I copied Bolo, I copied Pigeon, I copied Shock, I copied Spoit, why am I not ranking up? I thought it was a 1.5 times scope meta, instead of just like, you know, actually playing the game like it was intended. Now, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, you have the Macy J fans. You have the people that will complain about every single aspect of a 1.5 times scope meta because they watch utility siege YouTubers like me, and they never actually have the confidence to just play in a 1.5 times scope meta. All they do is complain instead of improving. They hate the players and they hate the game instead of just hating the game and being a good player, and for that, they're just gonna be hard stuck gold. They constantly complain about random head holes on the map because Macy J made a tweet about how he didn't like head holes, and they are the most annoying type of Siege players to be with, even though they're not throwing your games as much as other types of Siege players. Speaking of Siege players that absolutely throw your games, let's go over my 25th Siege player, which is the TikTok drone phase player. Now, this, you'd be surprised, actually makes up for about 90% of the Siege player base. When I'm looking at other people's drones, because let's say I drove my drone into sight and now it's dead, or, you know, I'm just not on my drone, I'm looking at other people's drones, I want to say that around 50% of my teammates' drones are just not looking at anything because they're just on their phone and they don't care. Now, like I said, that's 50% of teammates, but I also want to say that that's over 50% of games where 50% of teammates are just on TikTok during the drone phase. It's an insane phenomenon, and 3 years ago, this actually wasn't an issue because TikTok and short form content wasn't so much of a thing that it just fried your teammates' dopamine receptors to the point where they can't go an entire drone phase without being on their phone. It's probably the reason that they're playing Siege in the first place. If you're somebody that goes on TikTok in the drone phase, please, like, you're cooked. Your brain is done. You need to go to a doctor. You need to do a dopamine detox, something, man, because it's unacceptable. Something that is great to have on your team, though, is number 26, the Wall Denier. These people will play nothing but Cade, Bandit, and Mute on your team, and every single time you can count on it reliably not getting that wall open. Pair this up with the fact that if you play Turbo for them, or you play Wamai, whatever it may be, or they have a duo queue, then the wall is never getting opened. It's so cool. And now that we're in a 1.5 meta, and there's usually only 1 to 2 people that are actually trying to get the wall open as opposed to 3 in the past meta, it's so much easier for these types of players to thrive. These types of players are just probably the best players that you can have on your team. Honestly, like if I had to pick one type of person on my team to have, this type of player, I just love them. They're like the team mascot. They're just great. Everybody loves them. They're generally probably fun at parties. They never get into fights at all. They're just good, well-rounded, good-hearted people. If you're somebody that does nothing but play Cade and Bandit, oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Please DM me. I want to stack with you. Somebody that actually is good for your team though, but you still don't respect, is the Rat. Now this player, all they do is they play Cav or Vigil, and they sit in the most random corners that you didn't even know existed in the game. Their favorite map is probably Theme Park, and they ban Dokkaebi and Jackal every single chance that they get. Now, even if they're getting rat kills on my team, honestly, I don't respect them. I'm just as mad as the enemy team whenever the enemy team types, "Bro, what are you doing?" when they're prone on top of a bomb that you didn't know they could get because they have some weird coconut bra Azami angle that they just like manifested into reality. I don't know. These are like the most high IQ but low respect individuals you will ever find in the Siege community. Their favorite YouTuber is probably Coconut Bra. No disrespect to Coconut Bra. And they probably are eating Cheetos in between their kills. Now these players are also more or less the same as my next player, which is the knower of all hidden angles. Now these players are never actually on your team, and if they are, they never end up actually using or getting kills with these hidden angles that they know about. They're constantly on TikTok tips, whether it be watching me, Bonfire, Royal Penguin, or any other Siege TikToker, so they know every single hidden angle that you've never seen or heard of before, and you always get killed with these 200-meter across the map pixel peak angles, one shot to the head, 2-millisecond response time players. It's the weirdest thing, and the worst part about it too is there's literally just no counterplay to it. Back when bullet holes and punch holes were in the game, these types of players were more prominent than ever, but now it's just kind of an annoyance that you have to deal with once every few games. Speaking of an annoyance that you have to deal with once in a few games, the unpredictable Copper is my 29th Siege player. Now, Coppers are the worst of the worst players in the entire game, because they have the worst type of rank in the entire game. But if you put somebody who's champ and who's Copper in the same lobby, it's like watching two gods fight. It is the most epic battle of history you'll ever watch because of the fact that champions rely heavily on game sense. And in order to have game sense, you have to be able to predict what your opponent is going to do. But if you're a Copper and you're unpredictable, they can't predict what you're going to do, therefore their game sense goes out the window, their confidence goes out the window, and it's actually like fighting a real player. This happens to me all the time, especially at the start of new seasons. I will be playing against the worst teammates I've ever played with in my life, but I'm losing to them left and right because they will find the weirdest corners to sit in, they'll never do or swing the way you want them to or expect them to, and they're just so weird, and they make you have to drone for 2 minutes in the entire round. I honestly have to have some respect for how dumb they are because it gets them wins. It's insane. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. And then for my final type of Siege player, my number 30 spot, we have the Skin Collector. This person buys a battle pass every single season. Every single seasonal skin they have in their pocket. They have at least 2k R6 credits in their bank account at all times, at least 100k renown. They bought the diamond skin probably within the first 2 weeks of playing because they looked up guides on how to collect renown on YouTube, and they have no idea how annoying it is whenever they screen share the new skin that they bought and all the black ices that they have because nobody cares. They spent an ungodly amount of money on this game and probably other games as well just to not even play the game. Not only this, but these types of players get the luckiest Alpha and Bravo packs that you've ever seen in your entire life, and they don't play the game. So it's honestly hurtful because it's like, I play the game all the time, I have no good skins, I'm unlucky, I get green Bravo packs from seasonal skins that happened way long ago that don't even look good, and then this guy has like 30 different black ices and he never plays the game. It's honestly invigorating to watch. But with that out of the way, my name's Alka, check out this video and I'll see you on the next one. Later.